Joyce, welcome back to another video. Okay, so for today's video, as you read by the title, it is going to be why I believe Christian movies are the worst. Yes, I said it. Christian movies are the worst, and why I believe that it should just be about people coping with reality. That's it. I know. As soon as you saw the title, you may have been like, what the hell? Like, it sounds so harsh. It sounds so mean. No, it's just being realistic. Everything I'm going to be sharing is, again, based on experience, because I used to be a Christian myself for 24 years of my life. I am 24, but this is the year where I officially stopped being a Christian. By the way, if you guys hear some background noises, like, just ignore that. It may sound harsh, but it's the only way to make you guys understand that religion is really a fraud, and it's really there to brainwash people. And I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but because I've done my research, I know that Christianity is a cult, and it was started by racist white people. And I especially said racist white people because I know that it's not all white people that are like that. If you don't understand or would like to know more about why I stopped being a Christian, I made a full video on my channel talking about why I believe Woodvale Pentecostal Church should be demolished, and that is a church that I basically grew up in my whole life. If you haven't seen the video, I'm going to link it in the description box. You should definitely watch it before you watch this video, because if you're just gonna come here and say nasty comments about me and not watch the context and why I'm saying these things, then I'm just gonna report and block you. Literally, that's what I said for all my videos. No reason to hate. Honestly, for me, it's gonna be funny as hell, because at the same time, now that I think about it, that religion made me so upset and mad, but now I'm not upset anymore. I just laugh, because I know that I'm not the only one who got traumatized by that religion. If you guys are new to this channel, hello, my name is Joyce. I do makeup looks, reactions, reviews on TV shows, movies, plot lines, characters, and song covers. And if you stay on this channel, you will not regret one single second. Well, there are going to be two parts of this video. The part one, I'm going to be listing 5 movies where I thought they were absolutely the worst, okay, in my opinion. And I'm going to explain my reasoning, everything. I'm going to talk about the plot and the actors and all of that. And part 2 is going to be another 5 video, but they're more going to be based on the Tyler Perry movies. A lot of people who are black know Tyler Perry. He's really known for the Medea movies. He has built himself a good name in the Hollywood industry, but something that I don't like about his movies and that a lot of people have started to criticize for, I'm going to talk about that in part 2. But part 1, I just wanted to talk about the white people movies that are based on Christianity, where I thought they were absolutely the worst. I'm going to give you guys one reason why it's going to make a lot of sense why I believe that they're the worst Christian movies before I dive in. I don't know if you guys know this. I don't know if people have done their research. I don't know, but I found out after making that Woodvale video and doing more research, I actually found out that the Bible was actually used during slavery times.
Not kidding. This is exactly how they looked like. Literally. That's exactly how they look like.
Because the Bible was used during slavery times, like back in the 1800s. If I'm gonna get some people telling me, oh, why are you bringing this back? I am just going to report and block your ass. I might even embarrass your ass, so please don't. I'm a black woman. Of course, it's going to affect me. Because it was used during that time, and during the time of slavery, it was very painful and bad. And I compared it to my life that happened, everything that happened in my life. It was just mostly pain. If the Bible was used during that time, then that means that there were some Bible verses as well that were used during that time that are still being used today. And that's where I'm going to say that if all of the Christians that I grew up watching, that I've grown up being around, if they knew that and they failed to tell people, because there's absolutely no reason. If they fail to tell people, they are the worst human beings, especially if they knew that. These are the people that are really likely to brainwash other people with whatever the fuck they're going to spit out of their mouths. That is the reason why I believe that it makes a lot of people traumatized and delusional and upset. Now I'm going to be diving in the 5 Christian movies where I thought they were the absolute worst. We have in number 1, Fireproof. It is about a fire chief and ignore the notification sounds. It's about a fire chief and a hospital nurse who are in a very tumultuous relationship. The husband hasn't been really paying attention to her, and it came to the point where she decided that she wanted out of the relationship. The person who is playing the fire chief, I think his name was Caleb, if I have it correctly. Yeah, I think it was Caleb actually. So Caleb is the name of the fire chief, and he is played by Kirk Cameron, which I don't have anything against this actor. I think he did a great job. I think he's a really, really great actor. He nailed it. I remember that he said that he was a Christian in real life. I don't know if he still is till this day. All I'm going to say is I didn't feel any racist vibes from him as well. Even just watching this movie, I don't think he is. I don't feel anything, any racist vibes. However, if he knew the Bible was used during slavery times as well, and he didn't tell, I'm gonna lose every respect for Kirk Cameron, I don't even give a flying fuck, seriously. Otherwise, if he did not know, then no, we're good. Like I'm still gonna say that he's good. He hasn't done anything problematic. I have a lot of respect for the guy for now. The hospital nurse is played by Erin Bethia, if I said it well, Erin Bethia. I'm sorry if I didn't say it well. She also did a great job as the hospital nurse. During the movie, we see that the fire chief he decides that he wants to get his wife back by the help of his parents that say that if you turn to Jesus Christ and everything. There's this one scene that I actually did not like, and I remember Caleb was opening up to his father and saying that he's trying his hardest. He's trying so hard to get her back, to please her, buy her flowers, but she just doesn't want to. She's just spat over and over again in my face. What do I do? Like, I don't know what to do. Like, and then his father stood against a cross, and he was like, that's a really good question, because he was asking for help, and then he said, oh, where do I turn to? And then his father said, that's a really good question. And then we see a shot of him standing in front of the cross, and they just really focus on the dad beside the cross.
I made dinner for her. I did everything I could to demonstrate that I care about her, to show value for her, and she spat in my face. She does not deserve this, Dad. I am not doing it anymore. How am I supposed to show love to somebody over and over and over who constantly rejects me?
Of this movie, because it had nothing to do with a random ass cross that an old white man is standing next to. He was talking about his problems, and then he made it about God. And the proof is that afterwards he says, that's not what I'm doing. This isn't what this is about.
Dad, that is not what I'm doing.
There you go.
Again, I don't know if the actors or the writers knew about the real stories of the Bible, but that shouldn't be something to be praising. Somebody on the cross like that, I don't know why it's something that you need to stand beside and to praise for. I'm just being completely realistic. Again, I always thought it was completely bizarre the way that people were just worshiping the cross. I'm just being realistic. To me, it's just a white man on a cross who has brown hair and it's like this and has a crown, and that's it. So that's why it just gave me culty brainwash vibes, which I didn't like, because from the beginning of the movie, Caleb had made it super clear that he did not want to be a Christian. He didn't want to believe in that religion. He really didn't want to. And so the fact that his dad is going to psychologically manipulate him by standing in front of the cross and saying,
you did the same thing to Jesus. You spat in his face. You did that.
Jesus wasn't there during the time of his life when he was going through tumultuous things with his wife. Jesus wasn't present. And if Jesus is an actual human being on the cross and he's dead now, why are you going to include him in that serious conversation? Do you see what I mean? So I feel like this is a typical white people like type of conversation thing. When I hear stuff like that, usually they would just say, oh, let's just go to couples therapy. Like, I don't understand why they have to make it directly about Jesus. That's one thing I did not like about this scene, that he completely brainwashed him psychologically and made him think that if he lived through God's way, if he became a Christian, then that's when, oh, everything's going to get better for him. You know, he's going to get better at his job, take his job more seriously. He's going to stop watching pornography behind his wife's back, and he's going to get his wife back and everything. And to me, the whole story just felt so whitewashed, because there's no way like it's that perfect. That's what I mean. Just straight like that, he was a Christian and he was able to get his wife back. Like, it's just so unrealistic. I don't think it was about God. I think Caleb truly realized what he lost, and he just decided to, hey, take some initiative, do everything he can, you know, to get his wife back. But I'm also going to say that if his fictional God, if the God that he believes in did help him gain his wife back, that's okay. That's completely okay. But the one thing that I don't like is that because there are white people and it's mostly white centric, it's just making the audience seem that it's only white Christians who are able to have that perfect happy ending, and it doesn't apply to black people. Because again, I'm not white. I can't relate to that story. I cannot relate, even though I can relate to the message of never giving up, which that's a good message. Throughout the movie, they would say never give up, never give up. And that is really good. But I don't think you need a fictional God for you to believe in yourself. And that's what I think the movie should have been. I think the movie should have been about believing in yourself, believing that you won't give up to get what you want. And when you do that, there you go. The end. If they honestly did that, it would apply to all races. Because honestly, like I said, that movie, they made it seem that it was really, really just white Christians that could gain that happy ending. Because again, I used to be a Christian, and I'm not saying that there probably ain't some black folks who didn't receive that happy ending. But again, it's just ignoring the reality of that it's not every black person who has that perfect white picket fence Christian happy ending. And that is exactly what I mean when I'm saying that it is brainwashing people of all races to just think that if you just do it exactly like it's done in that movie, the exact same way, how he just turned to God by seeing his dad standing against a cross and saying a bunch of nonsense, saying,
oh, you spat in Jesus' face, you did that.
That's honestly fucking sick. For the dad to say that to his child, oh, you spat in his face, you did the same thing. You know he didn't. Was he there? Was he there during the time of Jesus? How can you say that? That's what I mean. It's completely brainwashy. I completely understand why it didn't get great reviews. This is, again, another classic case of a movie that is there to just brainwash and manipulate the audience into making them believe that living that way and the way that they did it, exactly the way they went through the divorce, the way they made up, exactly the same way they did it is exactly the way that we should be doing it too. It's not true. It's absolutely not true. There are other ways. It's not just, oh, going to Jesus and going to God that, oh yeah, if now my life is going to be perfect. Oh yeah, now I'm back with my husband. No, honestly, they could have been just be realistic and said, just go to couples therapy. If she doesn't want you, she doesn't want you. Just move on. That's what it should have been. That is honestly mirroring what happens in reality as well. It just seems, again, very whitewashed, brainwashy, culty thing. Because again, it's not the same reality for every white person. And I know that black people can't even relate to that. Yes, that movie, absolutely the worst of the worst. I will give credit to the actors because honestly, to me, The story was more about the hospital nurse and the fire chief. She decided to divorce him, and then he turns to God, and then he tries to gain her back. It should have really been about the two. The other characters in the movie, honestly, yes, some of the actors are very charismatic and they did great. But honestly, I really don't give a damn about their characters. I really don't care at all. It wasn't about them, the movie. So moving on, the next Christian movie where I think was the absolute worst, Facing the Giants. That was done in 2006. It was directed by Alex Kendrick.
As I was editing this video, I found out that Alex and Stephen Kendrick co-wrote and directed a lot of the movies that I'm going to be talking about today. So they also are in charge of the production. Everything, it literally goes all to them. So that means that everything that I'm going to be saying, it is all their responsibility. It all goes back to them. So I can't be hearing people saying, oh, how could you attack the... They knew what they were doing.
We have the cast consisted of Alex Kendrick, Shannon Fields, Bailey Cave, and Jason McLeod. There's others, but again, I don't remember nor care because most of them were pretty irrelevant characters. And this is another movie where it's again completely whitewashed. Most of the cast is white. I think there's only one black person, one dark-skinned person in the movie, and it was the assistant of the white coach, and he didn't even have a lot of lines. Like, he was not even important in the movie. He was just there to be the stereotypical backup sassy black dude who is there to just support the white lead. So no, again, like, the actor, I don't know him in real life. I think he did pretty all right in the movie, but again, this is just proof of how they treat people of color. The plot of Facing the Giant, Grant Taylor, the head football coach of his team named Shiloh Christian Academic Eagles, has a team who sucks ass and they keep losing 7 years in a row. One of his football players, the best, leaves eventually to go to another school. Then the rest of the football players' fathers one day meet up to talk about having Grant Taylor, the head football coach, fired from his job because he sucks. In that movie, the writers did a great job making it seem like Grant Taylor, he's the complete victim in this. You should sympathize for him, which in a way, they did set it up pretty nice. He didn't have a great car. He was having some problems with something leaking in his house that was giving this foul smell. He was having difficulty with his wife getting pregnant and everything. So they set that up for him to have a very pretty difficult life. Now that some football players are telling the truth and are saying that he kind of sucks and I don't think he's really focused on his team and everything. Now that they're all telling the truth, he gets completely butthurt and everything.
I'm a failing coach with a losing record.
So this scene is made for the audience to sympathize with that white man. And I'm not saying that I don't sympathize with his other problems, but the fact that he acknowledged himself that he is a failing coach proves my point.
I understand being hurt. It doesn't feel good to have people talking behind your back and you catching up on it. But it's not like anything they said wasn't true. I've seen the movie several times. From the beginning, Grant Taylor was a terrible coach. He seemed like he did not give a flying fuck about his team losing. Honestly, it explains why they kept losing a lot. So that's why I'm saying I can't really sympathize. I can sympathize about his personal life. But again, the fact that he still has a pretty good job as a football coach, he makes pretty good money, and he's refusing to improve his life, and then the writers are going to make the audience sympathize for it. It's just, again, very whitewashed because, again, it's played by a white actor. So it's just brainwashing the audience into thinking that, guess what? That's the worst possible thing that a white person can go through. But that's, again, not true. I've been around white people who have been through way worse, literally, and they didn't have even a job as a head coach. They didn't even have jobs. So that's what I mean.
Okay, guys, I know I stop a lot and I do a lot of recordings and everything, but it's because I feel like I forget to mention some important things. The only thing that I enjoyed about these Christian movies is that they have relatable, nice messages like infertility or never giving up, believing in yourself. Those are good, but they don't relate to God in any way.
Completely brainwashed, culty Christian whitewash vibe. White Christian brainwashed vibes. That's what it gives me. It's a working title. So he gets completely butthurt that the other football players' fathers said that he sucks, and then out of nowhere he starts crying with his wife, and then we're supposed to have pity on him. And guess what? It works because we do have pity. And then that's when he starts turning to God, and that's when his football team starts become better. He starts become more motivated, better, and then they start winning, and they win the championship at the end as well. He gets a better raise. He becomes a mentor to another football player who was new in his team. His name was David Childers. And honestly, I'm gonna say that the best part of the movie was David Childers and his dad. That was so impactful, realistic, and I just love that storyline. That his father was in a wheelchair, and he said that he just wanted his son. He wanted to see his son do one goal.
Don't touch me. I'm standing for my son.
I thought that was so beautiful. That is the only storyline that I like in this entire movie. Yes, I also enjoyed when the coach started to become the head coach, started to become better, and he took his job more seriously. But I cannot say that it's Christianity, again, who made him realize that, oh, he needs to be a better coach. Do you want me to be realistic? It's the fact that these fathers, football players, gave him a reality check, and he said, guess what, dude? You suck, all right? You suck as a head football coach. You're not taking it seriously, and you're not even taking what's going on in your personal life seriously as well. The only problems was fertility problems, but that's it. Otherwise, I thought that they had pretty cute moments in that movie. The chemistry of the actors are absolutely great. Other than that, that's what I really hated about the movie, is because they just didn't want to make him accept that these football players' fathers were saying that he sucks ass, and he just didn't want to accept that he got butthurt. That's it. Honestly, I would have loved it if they would have made a scene where Grant Taylor, he would go up to the fathers and saying, you know what? You guys said that I suck, but look at me now. Look at my team now. So actually, thank you guys for telling me that I suck, because of what you guys said, it just made me want to do better. That's it. That's it. And that's just so realistic. And a lot of people could relate to that. A lot of people from any race, size, sexuality, disability could relate to that than a white man who is just saying,
Oh yeah, I see the Bible now and I'm just gonna turn Christian.
yes, his academy and his school was mostly Christian. So in that context, I do understand. But that's another thing that I don't like about these type of movies, is because these white Christians, they think that they're just talking to a white Christian audience, and it makes black people seem that we can't relate to that.
Like, honestly, it makes black people just want to sympathize with them, and it's not our job to feel sorry for the white people that are living those bad situations, because they've proven that they don't give a damn about our situation. So why should we care? I mean, it honestly explains why the black character in the movie didn't really have a lot of lines, and he was just the assistant coach. And it explains why they only had one black person in the movie, literally.
We want that to happen to us, but it just seems like it can't happen to us because it just speaks to a white crowd. And I know that it's not the same for all movies, but that's what I'm saying when I'm saying that Christian movies are mostly like brainwashy and culty, because I know that it's not all white people who think like that. It was just too perfect of an ending. It was just too expected. And honestly, to me, it just kind of felt rushed. I really don't care if I get a comment. It just felt like it was kind of like a repeat of his other movie, Fireproof, but just with a different story. Something bad is going in that person's life, and the turning point is just God. That's completely unrealistic. I don't know if they were white Christians, the writers, but again, it does explain a lot why most of these movies are not really relatable, and again, why that religion gets trashed on a lot, because they make it seem that the God that they're worshiping is the only way that you're going to be happy and that you're going to live a great life if you just turn to him. If you're living the darkest moments of your life, just turn to him and everything's going to be completely better. It's just giving me completely whitewashed, brainwashed vibe. The movie was absolutely terrible. The actors did an amazing job. Some of them were very terrible, and I'm not going to list them, but the biggest majority of the actors gave great performances, and they were great. Again, I can't really put that on the actors unless they knew what they were getting into, which if they knew, I have no respect for them. Now we're going to move on to the next movie, Courageous. That got out in 2011. So again, Alex Kendrick. Cast consists of Alex Kendrick, Ken Beevil, Kevin Downs, Rusty Martin. Honestly, I'm gonna say that's the only movie that I genuinely enjoyed, even as a Christian, like ex-Christian now, but that's the only movie I genuinely enjoyed. The only thing that I did not want is that they included God in this. That's it. That's the only thing. But otherwise, I thought that movie was absolutely realistic. The actors are completely talented. They did amazing. Even the black cop, his story, I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty relatable, honestly. Not to me, because my dad was very abusive, so we never had that relationship. But I know that it could be relatable to a lot of black dads and black girls. The father-daughter bond, I don't really see that with black people, because usually it's a meme and it's made fun of, and it's like,
Oh, who's your daddy? And oh, I bet your daddy's not around.
usually it's more that. But in that movie, they just made it so beautiful. So that's why I'm saying that I can't say anything bad about this movie other than I wish they excluded God out of this, because even just with excluding God out of this movie, I think that movie would still be amazing and great. I know, again, most of the movies that were done by Alex Kendrick, written and directed, and he's a white man. And again, I don't follow him every day in his everyday life. I don't know what he does. Like, I don't know if he's still writing movies or anything. I don't know if he knew about the true stories of the Bible and everything, and how it's really a scam and a cult. If he knew all of that, again, I'm gonna lose all respect for him. So I'm just going to be reading the plot. When Alex Kendrick loses his daughter, I forgot the guy's name in this movie, so I know he's a police officer. Him and 4 other police officers, who also have some to deal with their personal lives, they have some personal problems, come together to accept Jesus Christ in their lives and end up changing because of that. Again, that's another repeat of the other movies that I just talked about, but a different plot, different actors, different context. The Christian movies, they make it seem like just going straight to God, you're gonna have the best life after. And maybe it was the case for some people, but it's just completely out of touch with reality. And it's just sad that most of these movies they mostly employed white actors, because again, it just gives me white Christian privilege kind of thing. That is real. It's kind of sad because most of these actors are really good. That's basically the plot of the movie. That movie had some great moments. I'm not gonna spoil everything, but otherwise, because it's the fucking same thing and it's just completely unrealistic, and they made it just about, oh, now my life is better because I turned to Jesus. It's just giving me privileged and brainwashed culty vibes. It's just giving me unrealistic shit. Now we're gonna move on to the 4th movie, God's Not Dead. Oof, a movie that I also watched when I was younger as a Christian. That movie honestly is your classic movie that will completely brainwash everyone. One question that I want to ask to black people that are watching this: why are we the ones who have to be completely focused and completely obedient to the Bible, but white people, they don't have to really. Even if they obey a little bit, they can still get away with it because of their privilege and because they can't relate to us. That's what I mean, you see? So God's not dead. It is about a student named Josh Wheaton who must prove God's existence, otherwise his philosophy teacher will fail him of his class. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest, guys. I was actually rooting for that philosophy teacher. I don't understand why they made him the villain in the movie. He is the only realistic person in this entire movie. I'm being completely honest. I would say probably the girl who had the abuse story with her dad. That's it. I don't remember the girl's name in the movie, nor do I remember the actress's name, which she also did a great job in that movie. Honestly, these were the only two realistic people in that movie. And I'm sorry, everything that Josh Wheaton explained, I was snoozing the entire time I was watching the movie. To me, it didn't make any sense at all. His girlfriend in the movie who broke up with him because he was so obsessed with proving, God's existence and everything, when the philosophy teacher was like, hey, just if you can prove that, then good. But if you can't prove that, I'll fail your class. Like, again, they made it seem like that white guy, he was the victim and everything, but he's the one who came up and challenged the philosophy teacher. I don't know why he didn't. I don't know why he couldn't understand that not everybody thinks like him. Just because he believes that way and he feels that way, that does not mean that the philosophy teacher is immediately the villain just because that he doesn't agree and he's an atheist. He's literally said that he's an atheist in the movie, and they made the philosophy teacher the villain, which I did not enjoy at all. That's why when they killed him off at the end of the movie, when he was trying to win his ex-girlfriend or fiance, I forgot back, and then he got ran over a car and then he fell, and then a random ass white guy comes in and says,
Oh, I believe that was a sign from God so you can accept Jesus Christ in your life.
Do you know Jesus?
I'm an atheist.
I believe it's God's mercy that brought me here right now.
I'm dying. How can you call that mercy?
Because that car could have killed you instantly. And I'm sure right now you probably wish that it did. But I'm here to tell you that it's a gift.
Hold up, let's replay this shit again.
Do you know Jesus?
I'm an atheist.
I believe it's God's mercy that brought me here right now.
I'm dying. How can you call that mercy?
Because that car could have killed you instantly.
Again, I don't understand what that has to do with the mercy of God, because you're saying that that car could have killed him instantly and it's the mercy of God that is saving him. That is fucked up.
And I'm sure right now you probably wish that it did.
Yeah, because a random ass white man is coming near him and is telling him that the only way that he's still alive is by the mercy of God.
But I'm here to tell you that it's a gift.
Okay, let's stop that for a second and be realistic. If that actually happened in real life, would you honestly talk like that to someone and say, but I'm here to tell you that it's a gift, when that person is about to die? Like, it's a gift? Are you kidding me? Oh my God, this movie is the worst. Oh my God.
Honestly, if someone did that to me in real life, I would say, get out of my face. Like, I would want my death to come faster, because I'm not going to have a random ass person just come to me and say, this is the moment that you need to accept Jesus Christ in your life. That's not your place to do that. You don't even know that person. That's not your place.
Oh, it's this time that you need to accept Jesus Christ in your life. Oh, he doesn't ask long.
I didn't like that. It was completely disgusting, honestly. I felt bad for the philosophy teacher that died like that. The student, Josh Wheaton, his friends going to a concert, a Christian concert, singing God's not dead, he's surely alive, he's living on the inside, roaring like a lion. I used to be a Christian. Like, I was so obsessed with that song too growing up. Now I'm just like, it's just so culty and brainwashy. Even if they have great singers, the message that comes out of their mouth is just so wrong and just completely brainwashed and culty, especially towards black people, people of color. I thought it was absolutely terrible, the storyline. Yes, it was different than the usual movies that I'm used to about somebody being depressed, being in a bad situation, and a random person comes in and said, accept Jesus Christ in your life, and then out of nowhere their life starts becoming better. Like, it's just so unrealistic and not true, because again, that didn't happen to me. That didn't happen to several people, even if we did it the right way. So yeah, no, I don't like psychological manipulation and abuse. I think it's fucking disgusting. And that's what these movies are there for. They're there to psychologically manipulate people into thinking that that's exactly the only way you're going to be happy, by turning to God, That's the only unrealistic thing that I don't like about Christian movies. And that's why I think that they're the absolute worst. And again, because most of these movies they have casted white actors, it just, again, nothing wrong, because most of them are very charismatic and they're very good in their roles. But again, it just, to me, is because of their storylines and their plot lines. Like, for example, Fireproof, he was the fire chief. He was making pretty good money. And she was a hospital nurse. So they make pretty good money. The audience that are exactly the same job as them, they can relate to that. That's it. But if they don't have the same job as them, and even if you're white, how can you relate to that? There you go. Even if they turn to God, they still can't relate, because it's not the same exact scenario. It's not the same exact situation. And it applies in real life. And that's the thing that a lot of these Christian movies, they fail to see and acknowledge and to realize, is that even if they use their religion to deliver nice messages, they don't think about the general public. They just think that it just applies to a certain group of people who have the exact same situation as them. And that's how they're going to have great lives, by turning to God. Which is, again, completely unrealistic, and that's sad, honestly. It's sad, again, that mostly these people are white. I can't even relate to these movies, and they say that, oh, it's for everybody, it includes everybody. That's not true. It's a lie. It's a cult. They're all scamming you. They know that, but they just don't care. They won't tell you. And that's honestly sad. That is basically the end of the fourth movie, God's Not Dead. I would have given it a 10 out of 10 if they didn't kill off the philosophy teacher at the end. He even explained why he stopped believing in God. I remember it's because his mom died of cancer and everything, and he used to be a full-ass Christian. That is something that people can relate to. I used to be a Christian myself, and I stopped believing because I was being bullied by Christians so much. That's the thing. They are the same people that talk about love, and that talk about inclusion, and they say nice messages. They're lying. They're actually lying, because it doesn't apply to everybody. They're just not being realistic. They're just wrapped up in their own privilege. The last movie that I'm going to talk about is War Room. And again, another movie done by Alex Kendrick, written and directed by Alex Kendrick. Oh, I forgot to say, for the fourth movie, God's Not Dead, the actors, they did great, except I'm going to say Josh Wheaton. I've seen this actor in Good Luck Charlie, and I'm going to be also honest with him. He's not a charismatic actor. I'm being completely honest. I've seen Good Luck Charlie a lot of times. I've seen God's Not Dead many times. This guy is not a charismatic actor. That's all I'll say. I think his name is Shane Harper. To me, he's just not charismatic, but he's not a terrible actor. I didn't really get attached to his character more than I did for the philosophy teacher and the girl who had the storyline of her dad being pretty abusive to her. And now we can go back to War Room. The cast: Alex Kendrick, Karen Abercrombie, T.C. Stallings, Priscilla Shirer. I hope I'm saying the names of the actors right. They all did absolutely amazing. I actually love that that was one of the first movies that Alex Kendrick has written and directed that the actors were mostly black. Finally, like, it was about time They didn't just include a dark-skinned character or a character of color just to have that diversity check mark. And that's how they treat people of color. They treat black people as irrelevant in the background. But at least for that movie, they had mostly black actors, which was great. I loved that from the jump. That was a really good move of Alex Kendrick. So the plot is about a couple with a daughter named Alina Pitts having the perfect house, great jobs, and privileged black people. Yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing that's not really talked about, is that there are some black people that also grew up pretty privileged and they have great jobs. Classic case, my parents. And that's the reason why it was hard for people to believe my twin sister and I when we were saying that we were abused by them, because they had great jobs, great looks, great charismatic personality. That story, again, I was glad that they put black actors, but I couldn't relate to that because my family was not perfect. It was pretty disgusting and abusive. The only thing that I can relate to is that they had great jobs and we had a pretty good house and everything. Then it comes to the point where the husband in the plot starts flirting with other women, then becomes a turning point in their relationship. The wife gets scared that the relationship is going to come to an end and that her husband might be cheating. So then one day, out of nowhere, a black old lady comes, and I think she's supposed to be a new client or something at her job. I don't know what her job is. I forgot the wife. The new client, her name is Clara, and then after, she encourages that couple to fix their marriage through prayer. Again. Oh my gosh. When I was saying that it just seems like black people, we need to fix our entire lives on God and we can't expect anything less because that's how I grew up. That movie is the definition of it. Because again, if the wife was suspecting that her husband was cheating, why didn't she just confront him? I don't remember if she did confront him and he ended up lying about it. But if he lied about it, then why didn't you just leave? I don't even know if she had proof. But if she didn't have proof, then it's just her based on assumptions. And it's honestly just telling me that that wife has complete trust issues. That's it. That's what it's just telling me, that she has complete trust issues. But otherwise, if he was cheating and she did have proof that he was cheating, I honestly think that she just should have just divorced him and taken her daughter and maybe did a whole custody thing, whoever gets to see the child, blah, blah, blah. And that's it. That would be a completely realistic thing. Again, I don't know why they have to include God in this, because again, it's not realistic. If God is supposed to be as amazing, he is able to fix everybody's problems, then there would be absolutely no problem in the world. The world will be complete perfection.
Oh, and I also don't want to see in the comments, it's because you didn't believe in God. It's because they don't believe in God. I'm going to report you right there. Literally, I've heard that shit my entire life and it had changed nothing for me. It just brought me more problems and problems and problems. So yeah, if you just want to be unrealistic and leave comments like that, that's my proof of how completely brainwashed you are.
Nobody would be going through these type of things. And that would be something that is relatable. But the fact that our world is not like that and that it's not true and it's just there to brainwash, oh, God is amazing and perfect, just honestly makes people out of touch with reality. And that's exactly what happened in that movie. I understood what she was trying to do, trying to help her, fix her marriage through the power of prayer and everything. But she also didn't give the wife a choice as well. She didn't give her a choice. He just said, oh, look at what happened to me. Look at my experience. And then now I'm a Christian and everything's going well in my life. Yeah, maybe that's good for you. Maybe for you it worked out. But again, be realistic. Like, not everybody thinks the same. Not everybody is going to have the same beliefs. Not everybody would want to do the same thing. So that's what I hated about this movie, is that they just decided to grab, to include a storyline about her having a client, the wife having a client one day, and then the client just out of nowhere ends up helping her with prayer and Christianity. And that's the point of the War Room, the movie, is because they have a room where she prays and fights and everything, and then out of nowhere, at the end, everything turns out to be okay. The husband decides he wants to be faithful, and then happily ever after. Just so unrealistic. Again, it's just a classic case of Alex Kendrick writing the same fucking thing, but with different actors. And in this one, he just decided to add characters of color this time because the world is starting to become more woke. That's why I don't really have that much respect for the Kendrick brothers, because if they knew about the true stories of the Bible, and if they knew that it's all a fiction and they use that to brainwash these actors and to just brainwash people, I can't have any respect for them. I will just have respect for messages that they were putting in their movies, because a lot of them have nice messages. But them as people, I don't follow them in their real life. I don't know if they're racist in real life. I don't even know if they slur the N-word or whatever. I don't know what the fuck they do in their lives. So that's why I can't say, oh, immediately they're great people just because they did Christian movies. Really? That's what I mean when I'm saying it's just completely unrealistic. Yeah, that's a pattern that I'm seeing Alex Kendrick do in a lot of the movies that I just talked about today, is that it's literally about the same end result at the end, but just with the different storylines, different characters, different actors of different ethnicities. That's it. That's honestly really sad that he's doing that. That's just being completely unrealistic. And that's why I think Christian movies are the worst, because they are the most unrealistic movies of all time. So to me, it just feels very colorist, very whitewashed. It just feels very white privileged. That's what it's just giving me. It's honestly sad. Yeah, this is part 1 of this video. I can also commend the music too, because there are some scenes where the music, it does give an emotional feel, and you do want to feel bad for that character and everything, which they're really good. That's what I'm saying. The music writing, everything that they did, that was really good. They're pretty good writers. They have pretty good music, and it's pretty good. I'm not gonna say it's terrible. If that God was that amazing, nobody would be going through pain right now. We just have to be realistic. Because of that, religion, it makes a lot of people out of touch with reality, with the reality of what's going on in the world right now. The people that are able to be in touch with reality are the people that you should honestly listen to. It's sad that it's mostly Christians that are the ones that are out of touch with reality. And guess what, guys? You guys are perpetuating this more and more when you keep broadcasting it for the whole world to see. Brainwashing. This concludes part 1 of this video. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel for more content. I would like to know your thoughts in the comments. If you agree, disagree, let me know. Like I said, no disrespectful or hateful comments. I'm just going to report and block you, especially if it's racist. Yeah, that's it. And I will see you guys in my next video. Goodbye.